Kynvi. I'm the intern minister here at First Parish Church of Groton, Massachusetts. I use they, them pronouns. The mission of this Unitarian Universalist church community is to deepen spiritually, to take care of each other, and to be a blessing to the world. So no matter who you are, where you are, or when you're joining us, Reverend Elea, Kemler, and I are so glad you're here. Sunday, November 28th, 2021 was a big day for our congregation because it was the first time since March 2020 that we were able to be back in our physical sanctuary together due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This service was filmed there, and it's focused on that reentry and on blessing the physical space. We may have been focused on our return to the building and the room, but please know that not only were you all there with us in spirit, but that you are as much a part of this community as anyone who attends in person. We so much value your presence with us here online, and we will continue to find ways to serve our virtual community. We hope you can find your way into this experience with us, and please do be in touch. Let us know what works for you and what doesn't. We'd love and value your feedback and your ideas. You can contact us at info@uugroton.org. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. I am standing here for the first time. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. It was created during World War II for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, whose members were involved in getting Jews and other persecuted groups out of Europe. It's a symbol of hope and resilience, of resistance to oppression. And our congregation's chalice was made for us by Reverend George Downey, minister, master carpenter, civil rights activist, weaver, dulcimer player, and generous church member here for the last 26 years of his life. George made the candle table, the offering boxes, the 2 wheelchair-accessible pews, and each one of the 44 boxes inside the pews. He also made these beautiful small benches in front. And he wrote about making our chalice. The flaming chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, and it is a centering symbol of our gathered community. The chalice flame embraces all who come. So today we return the chalice to its wooden stand, and Patrick Hughes will light it with words he wrote months ago when imagining this return to the sanctuary.
Good morning. Good morning. Ask yourself this question, the same one I asked myself last February when there was a chance we would return to our sanctuary. What does it mean to you to gather once again inside this sturdy old building, held up as much by its timbers as by the presence of our ancestors who gathered in this hall before us? What does that mean to you? Were they people like us, seeking a kinder, gentler version of faith? Did they read Emily Dickinson in lieu of Mary Oliver? Did they celebrate with candles and song on Christmas Eve? Do you remember the first time you walked into this space and felt its depth? What did that mean to you? When it was first assembled in 1755, this noble old building faced Route 40. But with horse teams, levers, and sweat, it was turned to face the post road to Boston. Such was its importance in this growing community. Inside this historic treasure, those who built it debated the principles of our fledgling democracy. And a few of its heroes still adorn these walls. It is called the Old Meeting House for that reason, a place where ideas were shared and debated, not just the spiritual ones we contemplate these days. But I cannot imagine there was ever a time when no one gathered inside this sacred old space as long as we have been absent. What did that mean to you? How did we fill this place, even if we were not inside in a physical form? I wonder, have our memories, faith, and presence become the stuff of ancestors, keeping us connected to all that has been and will be, and that actually we never left? We, like the chalice, today in the hope that a future minister and their congregation in a time of need may sit in quiet at this room and feel our presence as well.
This congregation has been singing Spirit of Life for many years, and today you don't have to remember the words, neither in Spanish nor in English, because it is our pandemic job to hum and tap Spirit of Life while the choir sings. So let go of the words and listen. Give yourself an inner humming massage and tap the rhythm if you want to. Thank you, choir.
So today is the first day of Hanukkah. As is our tradition, we will say the blessings and kindle the Hanukkah or the menorah. In Judaism, on the first day of any holiday, there is a special blessing you say that speaks of gratitude for having made it through, and that we have come around to celebrate once again, and that feels especially right today, on this day when we return to this room. Steve Lehman will light the menorah for us.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshonu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim l'avoteinu bayamim hahem b'azman hazeh. And this is the third blessing for gratitude. I'll do the English after I finish this. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu, lazman hazeh. And so the English for the first blessing is, blessed is life, the source of all creation, who makes us holy and urges us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. And the second blessing, blessed is hope, source of all creation, who performed wondrous deeds for our ancestors long ago in these winter days. And then the blessing for gratitude, blessed is hope, source of all creation, who has sustained us and brought us again to this joyful season. Let us welcome the light that shines through any darkness. Amen.
So in addition to being the first day of Hanukkah, today is also the first Sunday of Advent. And Kaitlin Kramer and Abby Alberga are going to light the Advent wreath. Well, they're not going to light the actual Advent wreath. They're going to light the candle on it.
Today we get to light the first candle on the Advent wreath, which reminds us that we are in the time of waiting. This is the time of the shortest days and the longest nights, when we wait for the light to return and for Jesus to be born, the baby who grew up to become a truth teller and a teacher of the simple and hard lessons that we need to love our neighbors as ourselves and that everyone is our neighbor.
The Advent wreath is a very old symbol for the time before Jesus. The circle is for the circle of the seasons. The wreath is made out of evergreen, which is a reminder of the green of spring, which will come again. The first candle, the one we light today, is for hope. May each one of us be filled with the hope and do what we can to bring more hope into the world, which is in such need of it.
But I remembered it, and it's perfect for today. So come on up, Chris.
Wow, just being here. As my mother-in-law would say, I'm verklempt. I did write this one of the first days that I came to First Parish, and it's called Warmth. If you sit on the bench in the very last pew, you can bask like a lazy old cat in the sun as the day of grace spreads warmth through your skin and your bones, deep, deep into your core. If you sit on the bench in the very last pew, the voices of the choir, words of their sacred balm, will spill out clear over your shoulders and settle around you, grounding you, healing you in a way only their music can. If you sit on the bench in the very last pew, you can catch the babies and toddlers turned round in their mothers' and fathers' embrace. If you're lucky, they'll trust you and share their innocence and smiles in tentative waves. If you sit on the bench in the very last pew, you'll notice the sea of heads. Crew-cut long hair, no hair, hair wet from hurried showers grabbed before rushing out the door, hair thrown back in carefree knots, each belonging to one of us, to a head connected to a heart and reaching out to our communal essence. If you sit on the bench in the very last pew, you can take in the glory of this old place that holds us all. The walls, simply and gracefully adorned, built to create a protective shelter for generations of solace seekers and peacemakers. If you sit on the bench in the very last pew, you can see the quiet conversations of old friends as they gather, the warm welcome for new faces, people who haven't seen each other in a week, a while, since yesterday, hugs, smiles, reassurances, interest, tears, laughter, anything needed to warm. If you sit on the bench in the very last pew, you can watch it, feel the warmth. It grows, it spreads throughout, a gentle wave that enriches and nourishes all, from those sitting on the bench in the very front pew, all the way back to those sitting on the bench in the very last pew.
I'm going to invite us to settle a little more into our bodies, to soften maybe our shoulders, our bellies, that space between our ears and the hairline, and to quiet maybe our hearts, our breath, our mind, and to feel with me whatever it feels like for you to be together in spiritual community this morning in this room. To open and accept whatever is here for you. How extraordinary to be here on the first day of Hanukkah, the first Sunday of Advent. Whether or not we will be able to continue worshiping indoors, we don't know, and we can touch our gratitude for the warmth and the candles and the fellow humans and the shelter this morning. We can touch gratitude for what's funny and quirky and communal and moving and verklempt. We can touch gratitude for the way we sit together and hold metaphorical hands against despair and cynicism. The way we exercise our muscles of hope, of humor, of stubborn gladness. And as always, we touch our gratitude for the spacious grace that is so present as a hallmark of this particular community. We call on that grace now as we hold each other's tender and broken hearts following the death of Karen Amos on Wednesday. May there be room here for the sharp grief, the ache, the catch in the throat, the tears, the bewilderment, the moments when it seems impossible that this 43-year-old, vivacious, brilliant, hilarious, warm, kind, loving, generous soul is not here with us anymore. May we hold in our loving prayers Karen's husband, Greg, her children, Leo and Margot, her siblings, parents, in-laws, and all the loved ones. With this loss and all the other losses we may be feeling right now, may we position ourselves so that when we fall back into the soft beds of our hearts and not into the sharp, raggedy edges of our thoughts. We send our loving prayers to all in our community and all in our aching, beautiful world who are struggling, hurting, recovering, dying. To all who are scared and lonely and sad. May we feel the immense privilege of being alive for all of it. For all of it. And may we always find the path that returns us to the sanctuary of the soft bed of our hearts. The sanctuary of each other, where we know we are loved, where we know we are whole and that we belong wholly on this earth and here together in the love that holds us all, the love that will never let us go, the love that will never let us let each other go. We'll enter for a moment into the silence.
On March 15th, 2020, I sat in my living room, I looked into the computer camera and welcomed people to what I was fairly certain was the first ever virtual service of First Parish Church of Groton since our congregation was gathered in the year 1655. We hadn't figured out any music yet. My husband held the chalice so I could light it, and Alan's arm became a feature of those first online services. We thought it would be 3 weeks, and that we would be back here the first Sunday of April. And that was 89 weeks ago. On that first Sunday, I read Lynn Unger's beautiful and brand new poem called Pandemic, which goes in part, reach with your heart, know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has become clear. So do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. And so, in the past 89 weeks, we have reached out with our hearts in so many ways. We have created new words, new rituals, new traditions, and new ways to keep doing the very old traditions. We have dressed up as angels and shepherds on Zoom. We have done drive-by blessings. We have wrapped up in blankets on cold Sunday mornings outside. We have tried to grow our tendrils of compassion and hold each other through everything that has been. And it has not been the same. And it has been sometimes wonderful, sometimes good enough, and sometimes not quite. And through it all, our board of trustees has been so steady and so strong. Thank you. And we gained an intern minister. We had not even met when the pandemic began, and now I can't imagine us without you. You make me cry. Lee is a crier, and you make me cry. Through it all, we have been sustained by generosity, humor, kindness, humility, and what Lee has named the spacious grace we offer each other. We don't know what next month or even next week will bring. We do know that there are more changes to come, and that spacious grace will carry us through. And we are here now, together, in this sacred old house. I can only imagine this sanctuary has missed us. And so now we will bless this house again. But first, I'll invite us to bless ourselves. So when you came in, hopefully you received a little tube of our homemade holy water. And if you don't have one, raise your hand and just keep it in the air, and the ushers will bring one around to you. So we have a few people who need one. We gathered this water at our first outside service of the new church here on September 12th, back when it was too hot outside instead of too cold. We gathered it from oceans and lakes and rivers and streams and sinks, mostly close to home. And we poured it together into a common bowl, as we have done for 21 years. And then Sarah Yacobucci filtered it for us in her chemistry lab and returned it all nice and clean in jars so that we can bless whatever needs blessing this year. So I want to ask you to think for a moment about the blessing that you need right now. And I was just with our older kids downstairs at the beginning of the service and asked them before they blessed their classroom, what does a blessing mean? What does it mean to bless someone or something? And one of them answered, it means to give them love, and it means to give them kindness. So think about the blessing you need. Maybe it is a blessing for healing for a particular part of your body, or for your heart or your spirit. Maybe it is a blessing for courage to face whatever hard thing is ahead of you, or a blessing for comfort or peace or reconciliation. And when you know what your blessing is, open your little jar of water and put a little bit on your fingertips and touch the water to your head or your heart or your hands or your knee or your foot or your chest, whatever feels right to you. So take a moment to do that. And now we will bless the sanctuary this way. First, Lee and I will share some words by Reverend Molly Hughes-Gordon, written for the congregation she serves and generously shared so that many UU congregations can use these words as they return to their sanctuaries. And at the end of the reading, we'll ask you to take a little bit more water and bless your pew, the walls or the seat, bless the floor or the window sills and the windows panes and the window near you. Just bless the space around you. I'll ask a couple of you at the very back to bless the doors and the thresholds back there. And someone on this side at the front, bless that door and threshold. We will let Shawn bless the organ very carefully. And someone can come up front and bless the piano with the tiniest bit of water. Someone who is near over there, bless the candle table, the door to the east wing. Lee and I have spread water around up here. Just pay attention to physical distancing. So if somebody is already in that space, just let them be there and bless that spot. So Lee, will you come and join me up here? Here are Molly's words. Friends, I invite you to take a deep breath and feel your way into this beloved sanctuary. Feel what it is to sit on these chairs again for the first time. Feel what it is to be sheltered by these walls again or for the first time.
Today, we officially return to our sanctuary after 20 and a half months away. No matter whether this is your first time in this space or your 2000th, you are equally and wholly welcome here. We are different now than we were 20 and a half months ago. Our bodies have changed. Our souls have suffered and stretched. Our hearts have grown and broken and grown some more. We are different now. This community has changed. We have lost beloved ones. We have welcomed new and dear ones. We have stayed together by force of will and technological ingenuity. We are different now. We return changed, but these walls have always been here to hold us exactly as we are.
These walls that echo with the stories and the love of generations. These walls that have witnessed the tears and prayers of decades, the losses and gains, the heartbreak and rejoicing, the joys and sorrows and milestones shared, our humanity in all of its full complexity.
These walls are here to hold us, and we continue to hold each other. As we return to this space, let us take a moment now to bless it. We bless this space with the fullness of who we are now, the wisdom we never hoped to gain, the hearts we never knew could hold so much, the sorrow and the new understandings of joy. And with all of it, we bless this space.
So with gratitude for its sheltering walls, with all of who we are, and with hope for who we will become, we bless this sacred old house. Will you rise in body or in spirit? And will you put one hand on your heart and with the other reach out and let us look around at one another's beautiful faces? And know that we are so connected. We are woven together with strong and sturdy threads of love.
Go in peace, beloveds. Be the blessing to the world that you are.
Amen.
Amen.